Hi everyone, welcome back to the Psalm 40 Project. I am here with our current council president, Dave Buter. Dave, I'm really excited about this. I've had great interactions with you, but honestly, I don't know that much about you, your life, things like that. So Dave, let's just start with something pretty simple. Where'd you grow up?
Jonah, I grew up in Grand Rapids. I've lived my entire life in Grand Rapids. The only time I was really outside of the city for any extended period of time was my higher education.
Where'd you go?
I went to University of Arizona for some graduate work and then Cooley Law School.
Okay.
But otherwise, in Grand Rapids, I was born in 1951. I've lived in 7 homes within the city of Grand Rapids during my lifetime, all within 3 miles of each other.
Wow.
The current home I live in was a home built by my mom and dad that I actually lived in for a period of time when I was in college.
Oh, that's so cool.
So there's not much excitement as far as where I've lived.
You actually are now beating Matt Skolton. I think he said he lived within 5 miles.
Okay.
So maybe we can see if we can find somebody even smaller than that. So from what I know, you've been at LaGrave your entire life. Is that true?
Yes. I was baptized here in 1951. I've remained a member of LaGrave ever since. Even when I went away to school, I still maintained my membership here. So yes, lifetime member of LaGrave. Shortly after I was born, I was actually baptized by Reverend Dr. Goris, but then Reverend Eppinga came in 1954. So that begins some of my first memories of a pastor at LaGrave.
Okay. Okay, so you have a wide history. What are some of the interesting tidbits, facts from growing up in this church?
Well, I can remember as far back as mid-50s would be my guess. When I was 4 or 5 years old, attending church in the original sanctuary. I clearly have a recollection of the hymnal numbers being posted on a board. I remember the configuration of the choir loft in that old church. And so, yes, I do have some memories of that. Some clearer memories begin when we began the demolition of that church and began the construction of our current sanctuary. That was late 50s rather. I was probably 7 or 8 years old. And so I clearly remember attending church Sunday mornings at the SDA facility.
Okay.
They obviously didn't have worship services on Sunday, and so we needed their facility at that time. So I have a very clear recollection of worshiping at the SDA facility in the morning. The irony is, 65 some years later, I signed the closing documents to purchase that building for LaGrave.
I had no idea LaGrave worshipped over there.
They did on a temporary basis, and that was in the mornings. And then in the evening, we worshiped at Westminster Presbyterian because they didn't have evening services.
Okay.
That was a good experience for me because they had cushioned pews, which was a new experience, a good experience.
If only we could get that at LaGrave.
Yes, yes.
So it's really fascinating to me to hear these stories of longevity in a church. Myself, I've moved, I don't even know how many times at this point, and been in a dozen churches. What are some of those things, positive items, or just what is it like growing up in the church, and how does that enhance your faith, grow your faith?
I think being here has allowed me to develop a very close relationship with every pastor I've had.
Okay.
For me, for example, even as a middle schooler, a teenager, Reverend Eppinga was not just this guy in the pulpit that I'd see once a Sunday. We got to the point where he was interested in what was going on in my life, and I knew that. And he made that very clear to me. We got to the point where we talked baseball together, and to me that was important, because I didn't see that as being the type of relationship a young kid could have with a pastor, to talk with their pastor about baseball. And so continuing throughout the years at LaGrave, I've been able to develop that close relationship with every one of my pastors, and I think it's a relationship of friendship. As I get older and continue to stay involved in the church, it's a working relationship with the pastors. And that has meant a great deal to me in my faith walk. Also, here at LaGrave, being here since 1951, I've had the blessing of being exposed to the giants of this church. And this church has giants. Men and women of faith who set an example for a kid that was a very positive example.
I bet.
And I think being here my entire life gave me a chance to get to know some of these giants personally and learn from them.
I can imagine. Again, I can't speak to your side of things because I bounced around churches so much, but it takes a while to develop a relationship with somebody, especially if you only see them once a week and in the capacity of them being your teacher. But I also see that you've built a community, and I've witnessed this. You've built a community with members here, both long-term, but it seems like you're really good at meeting new people as well. Maybe that's part of your profession, but you've got a sense that you want to welcome people into this family, and I think that that's a different way because you've been here so long.
I think that's probably true. The family part of LaGrave is really important to me, and I'm not just talking about my immediate family. 3 of my own kids are attending here with their children, my grandchildren. But when you're part of a church, for as long as I've been part of this church, you develop very close relationships with the other parishioners. And when there is that time of need, either for me or for them, we know it, and we know that we want to help. And you find other members with whom you can confide. It's an important part, I think, of any faith journey.